It is 9:14 on a Monday at a fictional retail company called Atlas Retail. A finance manager cannot open a shared file. Then a second alert lands. A warehouse scheduling server is behaving strangely. The word ransomware reaches leadership before anyone knows the full story. Suddenly, the room wants one answer. How bad is this? Not, what is the cleverest attack story? Not, which dashboard is loudest? How bad is the business risk? And what should we do first? That is enterprise security risk management. In a digital-first business, every customer journey, supplier connection, cloud workload, and identity system creates value. It can also create exposure. Your job is not to promise zero risk. Your job is to make risk visible, comparable, owned, and treated before it becomes an outage or a headline. In this CipherVibe masterclass, we will turn a fictional ransomware scare into a practical risk decision. Who the threats are, where weaknesses enter, how an incident unfolds, and how to use a 5x5 matrix without turning it into spreadsheet theater. Security risk is often explained backwards. Teams start with a long list of vulnerabilities, then hope executives care. Start instead with the mission. What must remain available? Which records must remain correct? Which customer promise cannot quietly fail? At Atlas Retail, the order system, payment processing, warehouse scheduling, and customer identity service are not just assets. They are business capabilities. A risk statement connects a valuable capability to a plausible harmful event. An attack or failure affects this system, which interrupts this process, which causes this consequence. That is why a low-severity technical issue can be urgent on a system that ships orders, while a louder finding in an isolated lab may be less urgent. Risk management gives both conversations one language: likelihood, impact, ownership, and treatment. The point is to make trade-offs deliberately. Reduce the risk with a control. Transfer some financial impact through a contract or insurance arrangement. Avoid a risky design. Or accept a residual risk consciously, never by accident, and never without someone accountable for the decision. Here is a distinction that instantly makes risk conversations clearer. A threat actor is the who, a financially motivated criminal group, a malicious insider, an opportunist, or another party with intent and capability. A vulnerability vector is the where, an exposed service, a weak identity process, insecure software, a cloud misconfiguration, or a supplier connection that creates a path to harm. They intersect in a scenario. Imagine Atlas Retail has a critical remote access system that is overdue for a security update and connected to sensitive operational data. The actor is not the vulnerability. The missing update is not the actor. Risk emerges when a plausible actor can use that weakness to affect an asset the business depends on. This separation prevents lazy thinking. We have ransomware risk is too broad to fix. A financially motivated actor could use a known weakness in a critical remote access path to interrupt warehouse operations is a scenario you can score, assign, monitor, and reduce. Strong security managers teach teams to move from scary nouns to precise, evidence-backed scenarios. Ransomware is often shown as a single red screen. That is not how a security manager should think about it. The risk is a campaign of business disruption. A threat actor may gain an initial foothold through a weak access path, a deceptive message, an exposed service, or a compromised supplier relationship. From there, the dangerous question is not, can one file be damaged? It is, can this situation reach identities, systems, or data that stop the business? The pressure may come from disruption, from threats to expose stolen information, or from both. That is why the impact score is larger than the cost of one recovery ticket. It can include lost sales, delayed operations, customer notification, legal obligations, reputation damage, and executive time. The defensive response is equally broader than one security tool. Strengthen identity controls, segment critical services, protect and test backups, monitor useful signals, and practice the decision-making path before an emergency. We are not rehearsing an attack. We are rehearsing how an enterprise keeps operating when one arrives. Back at Atlas Retail, the team has a credible ransomware signal. The first hour is a decision sequence, not a hero moment. First, detect and scope. Validate the alert, identify what systems are affected, and understand which business services depend on them. Next, contain. Isolate impacted systems or segments using the approved incident plan while preserving evidence that may disappear if the team acts carelessly. Then coordinate. Bring in the right operational owners, legal and communications contacts, executive decision makers, and approved external support. Communicate what is known, what is being checked, and what the next update will cover without guessing. Finally, recover by priority. Restore the services that protect health, safety, revenue, and critical commitments, but only into a clean, trusted environment. After the immediate crisis, turn the lessons into risk reduction work. Improve the asset list, adjust controls, test the plan again, and close the gaps that made the scenario plausible. CISA's response guidance emphasizes isolation, evidence preservation, prioritized restoration, and coordinated communication. The key managerial insight is simple. Incident response is risk management at high speed. Now let's build the visual every aspiring security manager should be able to read: the 5x5 Business Risk Assessment Matrix. Put likelihood on the horizontal axis. 1 is rare, 5 is almost certain. Put impact on the vertical axis. 1 is insignificant, 5 is severe. The cells become a shared map. Green is lower risk. Yellow is medium. Orange and red signal high risk, where leaders should expect a clear treatment plan. The matrix is not an oracle. It does not replace technical evidence, business judgment, or a response plan. It gives those inputs a common shape. To use it well, agree on your definitions before scoring. What does likely mean for your organization? What makes impact severe? Is it lost revenue, safety, customer harm, contractual breach, regulatory exposure, damaged trust, or a combination? Then score the scenario, not the product, not the vulnerability label, and not the actor in the abstract. For example, a plausible actor uses an overdue security weakness in a critical remote access path, disrupting warehouse scheduling. If likelihood is 4 and impact is 4, the score is 16, high risk. That score does not tell you exactly which tool to buy. It tells you the business cannot leave the scenario ownerless. A common mistake is to treat the colors as the final answer. They are the beginning of a better conversation. A high risk requires a decision. Reduce likelihood by improving access controls, patching on time, removing unnecessary exposure, or improving detection. Reduce impact by segmenting critical services, protecting data, testing recovery, and designing resilient operations. A medium risk still needs an owner, a due date, and a review trigger. A low risk needs a documented rationale because conditions change. Here is the crucial management phrase: residual risk. After Atlas Retail strengthens the remote access path, tests backups, and improves monitoring, some risk remains. The company must decide whether that remaining exposure is acceptable, to whom, and for how long. That is governance, not paperwork. The best matrix is updated when facts change. A new supplier, a newly exposed application, a business expansion, or a fresh threat report can change likelihood or impact overnight. So use the 5x5 to compare work fairly, not to create false precision. A score of 6 is not magically safer than 7. The value is that the organization can explain its assumptions, defend its priorities, and prove that risk treatment changed something real. Here is the career tip that separates a capable Tier 1 analyst from someone who only closes tickets. Learn to translate an alert into risk. You will see unusual sign-ins, suspicious messages, endpoint detections, failed backups, and configuration changes. Your job is not to declare every signal a catastrophe. It is to ask context-rich questions. Which business asset could be affected? Is the user privileged? Does this system support a critical process? Is there evidence that the event is isolated or spreading? What containment has already occurred? Then document and escalate in a way a manager can act on. What happened? Why it may matter? What evidence supports the concern? What is still unknown? And which owner needs the next decision? That is a soft skill with technical weight. It improves response speed, reduces noise, and earns trust across IT, operations, and leadership. Understanding risk does not mean you become less technical. It means your technical work becomes easier to prioritize, explain, and fund. Enterprise security risk management is how a company makes better decisions before the next alert forces the issue. Start with what the business must protect. Describe the plausible scenario, not just a scary noun. Separate the threat actor from the vulnerability vector. Prepare for ransomware as a business disruption event that needs containment, trusted recovery, and lessons learned. Then use a 5x5 matrix to make priorities visible, owned, and reviewable. If you are building your security career, practice translating a technical signal into business impact. That habit makes you invaluable. If this helped you see risk more clearly, like the video, subscribe to CipherVibe, and comment with the risk scenario or security manager topic you want us to break down next. Learn, detect, and defend with CipherVibe.